whether you're doing a overhead press or pull down, it's the exact same motion, it's the opposite, right? So when I'm here, I can sit here and you would think I'm doing a pull down, but I'm doing an overhead press, right? I wouldn't overhead press like this. I have to be here. Our pull down is a vertical pull, right? So scapulas are not necessarily gonna be retracting as much. They're gonna be doing like this. So when I'm doing a pull down, I'll adjust this in a minute. You see my shoulder blades, they're not pulling back. A high row would look something like this, right? Now we're kind of hitting two birds with one stone doing a high pull, a vertical row, because you're gonna get great engagement from our teres and full range of motion down our lats, and then we're getting those back thickness muscles, our traps, rhomboids, rear delts are aiding the retraction in the end. So making sure people don't mix those things up when they're actually doing this, because what happens is we have one of these pulls, we have the elbows going backwards, doing this. And I see that all the time. So, all right. So coach me through a pull down.
So this one is a pull down machine. It's gonna work on mainly your back and your lat, which is right here. It's shown on the picture. First of all, we're gonna adjust the sit. When we sit, you want to be able to push your knee against the pad.
Yes,
and
good.
And then you come up so that your trunk, your lower body is stable, so you're not pulling from your shoulder joint with your back.
Perfect.
And then you're gonna adjust with your grip. You're gonna choose a middle grip in the middle, and then we're gonna just treat your grip like a hook instead of like gripping it so hard with your finger. So you're gonna pull down with like this, and then stick it really tight, and then I want you to lean back a little bit, and then pull your scapula down, but in one motion. And then chest up, squeeze, and then slowly come up. And then let your scapula stretch, protract a little bit, and then again.
Good, good. I like that. I like the cue. So really good point. I did a video a couple weeks ago about how many times people forget. You know, when they use the, if they're doing like say the cable pull down machine or whatever, they forget, they think that this is just to be there on your thighs for, I don't know, whatever reason. They forget about the point of putting pressure into this pad, which is a really, really great cue. That's gonna obviously keep us together. Now again, I'm always gonna say from floor to core, when I'm coaching athletes that are competing for shows, we judge from the ground up, right? Same with when we're doing any kind of coaching, judge from the ground up. Where's your foundation, right? So from here, great cue, from here to here. I like the cue to think of your hands like a hook and not like gripping, because a lot of times people lose their grip because they're just doing this way too much. Another cue I like to add is don't necessarily pull with your hand, pull with your elbows, right? If you think about pulling, to engage our lats or our teres, we can literally cut this off and put our hand here. And we'd be doing the same thing. This is just an extension of all this, right? So, I mean, we also need to bend here, but regardless, when you're pulling, I want you to think the elbows are pulling, not the hands. Or you're connecting the hands and the elbows, right? So when you pull. So I like the protraction at the top to stretch a bit, but again, when we're talking about this part here, to get people to stop leaning back so much, it's not necessarily because they're just leaning on purpose, because they're not engaging this, right? If we have a tight core, like everybody tense their core and then try to hyperextend. You're just gonna fall backwards, you can't, right? If it's not here, easily this happens, right? But if I'm tight here, from floor to core and tight, so 10 reps from each you, and we'll add some more for you guys. So you already did it, great job. Next, get on in. Good. Now, can I poke you?
Yeah.
Cool. Keep that engaged. Tight. Keep it tight. There you go. Right? I'll try and stay up a little higher. Right? When I pull down, I don't want this much of an arch, so I want you to be there. Now tight your core, now pull. See how much harder that is? Right? Let it stretch all the way up. Stretch, pull. If you think about the more you lean back here, the less range of motion we're gonna get, right? And then our elbows end up pulling backwards, even though you think you're pulling down straight, they're pulling back because now our arch is here and we're doing this. What does this movement look like to you, other than just a pull down? Yeah, the opposite movement. It's an overhead press. So when you coach this, whether you're doing a overhead press or pull on, it's the exact same motion, it's the opposite, right? So when I'm here, I can sit here and you would think I'm doing a pull down, but I'm doing an overhead press, right? I wouldn't overhead press like this. I have to be here. So make those little bit of cues for them, because a lot of these movements are going to be repetitive in terms of like the opposite or the antagonist muscle, right? Next. Good. Gentlemen? You ran over here to put 2 on it.
I feel like if my eye look at that side, it would be helpful. So
Yeah.
that's correct?
Keep your gaze up.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. There you go. Think naturally, if I just go like this and make a W, that's where my hand should be on the way down. There's my full range. All the way straight, there you go. And keep this tight. Don't suck it in tight. Push through there, tight through there. There you go. Pull all the way down, pull hard. There you go. Pretty heavy.
I feel like it's heavier if I do like this one.
Of course. And that's the feedback you want is, I'm using lower weight and this is harder than it was when I was using heavier weight. Guess what happens then? Progressive overload is that much greater, right? Whenever I get someone in the coaching and they have to drop their weight, I'm like, but watch how fast you get stronger this way, right? In a couple of weeks, I can guarantee you, because again, when you're an athlete already and you're controlled, you can easily catch on, right? When you're a new athlete, your body is going through a process of learning how to move, so it's not gonna grow as fast as it needs to until it knows how to move. So if you get somebody that's already pretty much an athlete, but they're just changing the way they're training, and they gotta drop a bunch of weight, their strength is gonna pick up really, really quick because they already know how to move. They're just training a different stimulus. This is too heavy. All right, next. When you unrack, so sit down. Now get yourself fully underneath. So there you go, rock forward a bit. There you go. You feel it tight? Now I want you to just move your elbows a bit, bend, let them crack a bit. Let them crack, open. So when I say crack, let them bend. There you go. Do you feel this right away? I want you to pull this whole thing down with this. Think that. And up. Pull from here. There you go. Right? You keep this engaged the entire time. Right, now we gotta remember where our full range is. Go down, help your buddy. There you go. Now do your best to keep your elbows in a little bit more. There you go. Good. 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 Let the weight, so relax a bit, relax. I can tell, there, I can tell you're really, yeah, right? Let the weight naturally pull you up, right? And then pull down, chest up, head up, tight core. Now pull down with your lats. There you go, shift and pull. And then let the weight pull you back up all the way through, rock in, and then pull. There you go. So the eccentric load is gonna go from here. It's gonna start to unravel from here. So let this keep going. This unravels first. This unravels, then this, then that. And then pulling back down, right? There you go, let this come up all the way, stretch, shift and pull. There you go. Let the natural weight just pull your arms back to where they're supposed to be. You're guiding it back and pull.
So Johnny, one cue we usually give our athletes is concentric. Eccentric is kind of like the gas pedal and the brake pedal.
Okay.
Nothing you go right away like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
What you're saying.
I like it, yeah, good. Yeah, great ways to like, connect with your athletes. And taking those gas pedal, natural things that, people know, right? Everyone knows how to use unless you're a bad driver and you're speeding here or whatever. Maybe, either way, right?
Yeah. Do more of the last when I'm tucking my elbow.
When you're tucking your elbow,
Yeah.
That's right. So he talked about tucking your elbow, right? So he's basically externally rotating, and that's gonna line up, right? When I externally rotate, the reason why you probably feel it more is because your teres is going to help with external rotation, right? That's why you might feel a little bit more when you're doing underhand grip, right? So yes, I do, but I also wanna make sure that I'm pulling. Now stay here, chest up, head up. There you go, now pull, right? And try your best not to lean back as much. There you go. Your hand placement doesn't have to be super wide either, right? We can grip in a little closer, right? Because what's gonna happen is the further hands are wide, the less range of motion we're getting on the way down, right? The further up this way, the more it has to travel on the way down. So when you see somebody come in and they're grabbing the bar from here to here and doing this, like I can get it wide. It's like, you're actually like losing range of motion when you're doing that, right? The reason why we want to slow these reps down, here's my favorite analogy when it comes to time under tension. You guys have probably passed people a bunch of times in your life. Probably someone to walk by you really quick, like, hey, how you doing? And walk by you. And you probably maybe remember maybe a couple things about them. Maybe their face or what they're, maybe. Probably not much. But if I come by you and sit there and talk for about a minute, you'll remember a few things about me. Think about that in terms of like your range, your time and attention. Doing these fast movements like this doesn't allow your brain and your muscles to have a nice, conversation. It's just like someone zooming by you the entire time. So how long will it take that person to really connect with that muscle if they're constantly just doing this and not really feeling that movement the entire time, right? When I'm doing legs or back or whatever, I'm feeling the lactic acid pump in my body very early. And then I know exactly what I'm trying to feel, and I'm trying to replicate that stimulus over and over and over and over and over again, right? So always slow the rep down for the athlete. 2-second negative is like my bare minimum if we're doing like a 10 to 15 reps. Because I have a 1 second positive, that's 3 seconds, that's 30 to 45 seconds.
Do you have to do a pause at the bottom?
So you can, and you don't have to, but you do definitely want to get there. Now, when it comes to like beginners, yeah, I'm gonna make them pause, right? I'm gonna sit from here and away from here. Right? And that's my metric, my variable when it turns of, is their form breaking down? Because as soon as they can't hold it and they're doing this, then I'm gonna stop them. And if I'm doing like say like a mile match rep or something like that, or they're doing 10 to 15 reps and they get to 10 and maybe I'm gonna cut them off. I don't want to see the other 5 reps that aren't gonna be the same as those good 10 reps that there were, right? So you can use that as like, you can pause at the bottom, but again, you also want to make sure you're not going to over stimulate them either, right? If you're doing like a 2-second negative, 1 second pause, 2 second positive, they're doing reps like the beginner is not going to be able to do as much. Your guys have probably been with you for a couple of years, whatever, they will be able to, for sure, right? Because their body's a little more accustomed to it, they have a little more cardiovascular strength to be able to, and muscle endurance to be able to go that long. But for the most part, we look at like somebody doing a set, most people will last about 30 seconds. Like doesn't matter how much weight there's on there. You can literally sit there with your clock and just do this. And by the time 20 seconds hits, you can see their form starting to, start to almost break down a bit, right? And the more experienced they are, the longer it's gonna take for that to actually break down.